In this video, we're going to talk about, can you actually have a stress-free life, or is that just a myth of stress-free living? Because a lot of people assume that you're going to have stress responses or stressful situations are going to happen in your life. And they are partially right and partially, this is my opinion, not right. My name is Padma Ali from padmaali.com, and today we're going to talk about how or whether it is possible to live a stress-free life. If you haven't listened to my episode on stress-free living, how to live a stress-free life, episode number 93, please do so. And then also watch the video specifically on the techniques for dealing with stress. The episode number 93 is on the Create Your Vibrant Life podcast. It'll give you a better sense of this particular video. So let's talk about, is stress-free living even a possibility, or is it just a myth that you're living from? First of all, what is stress? I'm pausing here because I really want you to think about it. What is stress? Does everyone get into stress? Does anyone facing a particular situation, say your car broke down or your car has a flat tire, maybe you may have a stress response, you may not have a stress response. If you do all people get into stress responses when they have car trouble? Probably not, right? And so you have to, I'm showing that because everything is an interpretation of the situation. You are interpreting that situation to either create stress for you or not to create stress for you. So it's an interpretation. At the end of the day, stress is nothing but an interpretation of your brain going, oh, this is something I need to get stressed out about. In the podcast, I talk about how stress is a learned response. You've learned to react to a situation with stress based on what you've learned in your life, with your family, from your family of origin, or something that you have trained yourself to do. And in the podcast, I also go into details on how we actually form those neural pathways that create stress, and then how to deal with it as well, including the techniques. Please make sure you watch that video. So let's talk about, is stress-free living even a possibility? Again, like I said, everything is an interpretation. So what you might interpret as a stressful situation may not be stressful for someone else, or what someone else interprets as a stressful situation may not be stressful for you. So how can you apply this knowledge to living a stress-free life? First of all, it is not a myth. You can have a stress-free existence. Absolutely possible. So one way to start doing that is to regularly practice. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Situations are going to happen in your life that feel out of control. Stress happens because we are trying to control something that cannot be controlled. So when you can recognize that piece, that it is nothing but you're trying to control something that cannot be controlled, you then have a choice to say, do I want to get into stress response here or do I not? And it becomes a choice then, rather than an automatic, immediate reaction to a situation. So let me put it this way. Situations are going to happen in your life, whether you like it or not. We all deal with things, and then things happen, right? We have to face, the bottom line is you get to decide if that situation, you're going to react to it from a place of stress or not. So in order to establish yourself from not reacting to something from a place of stress, we need to do two things. One, train your brain. We need to stop those neural pathways, which is what I mentioned in the podcast. The second thing is train your nervous system to be in a state of peace at all times. How do you do that? Notice the activities or practices that help you. For me personally, the breath work practice helps. I also meditate every single day. It's non-negotiable. I pay very close attention to what I put into my body because certain things can create more stress in my system. What do I mean by that? I am not a coffee drinker. But what happens sometimes, like I've had a cup of coffee here and there, but my reaction to coffee, it starts to elevate my heart rate, which simulates a stress response. So I'm very careful about what I put into my body. There are certain foods that are going to help your body be in a calmer state and certain foods that are going to activate the nervous system. So start to notice that. Again, exercise is a great, moving your body, whatever that looks like. For me, it oscillates between doing some cardio, but also like doing yoga. Yoga is very calming to my nervous system. You have to find your strategies that work for you. So again, you're going to face situations in your life that part of you might want to have a stress response to, and the other part of you may not. The bottom line is you need to train your nervous system to be in a state of peace and calm. One way to do that is to do the practices that we've talked about. The second thing is reaction, right? You can choose the choice to react or not. It's a choice. At the end of the day, it's a choice. Feelings are choice. Anxiety is a choice. Overwhelm is a choice. You may not agree with me, and I am not here to convince you either ways. Even if you have a chemical, your body chemistry is prone to you having anxiety, it is still a choice that you can make to choose to respond from an anxious place or not. Like I said, you may not agree with me, and that's okay. This is how I worked with my own anxiety. When I recognize that I can choose to either be upset about something or I can choose to not be upset. It really changed how I saw feelings, how I saw situations, how I saw things happening in my life. Okay, so these are the two main ways that you can work with having a stress-free life. As you can tell, it's all mostly preventative. There's a third aspect that I wanted to share with you, which is your thoughts. Having positive thinking, not just positive thinking, it's like the kind of thoughts that you allow in your brain. If you are going to allow those spiraling of negative thoughts that make you feel so bad about yourself, what you're doing is you're setting the pace for you to be stressed out. So say you have a spew of negative thoughts about yourself floating in your head, and your boss says something to you negative, that you perceive as negative. It's going to compound with what your thoughts are about yourself and make you feel even worse and spiral you downwards and have what is called a stress reaction. So you have a choice. You have a choice to react or not react. And the way to do that, again, is by choosing to say, okay, this is not for me. This is not how I'm going to do this. So again, just to recap, right? Like these are the three main things that you can do to work with not having stress responses or live a stress-free life. Or like I say, watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts is number one. I'm going backwards. Watch your thoughts. Only allow yourself to have positive or affirmations that support your growth and evolution than the thoughts that make you feel truly bad about yourself. Now, I'm not saying you need to bypass the underlying issues. We need to look at it, but and that you can do that separately on your own, digging into what is causing you to feel the way you do. But in that moment of establishing the foundation of living a stress-free life, that is not the time to do it. So having affirmations that you can read or like do over and over and over and over and over again throughout the day or in the morning, like it can be, when you can do that, that's going to be very helpful. Now combine that with hypnosis. Hypnosis is a proven technique to help with creating low stress in your system. That, and then the second one is watching what you eat and what you put into your body, because certain food items are going to, or your practices, let me put it that way. Like certain practices will exacerbate stress and anxiety, and certain ones will calm your nervous system down. So like I said, this is prevention rather than curing, because you are going to face situations in your life at all times. Like, things are going to happen for all of us, not just you. It's going to happen. But then you can decide, when you've set the foundation up, there's less likely chance of you reacting from a stressful place than not. All right, so that concludes all of this. This is Padma from padmaali.com. If you have any questions, please post in the comments below. Subscribe to this channel, share with your friends and family, and make sure to listen to the podcast and subscribe to the podcast as well. All right, take care. Bye.